start early on the sax, or was there? I mean, in fact, your dad
Um,
played piano. Did you want to play piano?
well, it's a bit of a long story. I mean, when I was 6, it was the summer in Dorset, and it was about, mid 20 degrees, which is warm for us, but
Yes, it is. Yeah.
and Dad had a gig in Ween in Scotland, in celebration of Ian Stewart, who formed the Rolling Stones with
Yes,
Brian
I know who
Jones,
he is. Yeah, I know who he is.
and so we flew up there together, and as a 6-year-old, I packed my bag. And I packed shorts and t-shirts stupidly. And when we got there, there was no time to go to the hotel or anything, and I was freezing.
Yeah.
So all my dad could think of is zipping me up in the suitcase with my head sticking out because it was an outdoor gig, and he propped me up on the marquee leg, and I watched the saxophone players. And after that concert, I was like, I want to play saxophone. And the saxophone section were legendary. There's Willie Garnett, Don Weller, Alex Garnett. They're like huge names in the UK
Hmm.
sort of jazz scene.
Hmm.
Well, if not, Europe or worldwide. And um, I asked Willie Garnett after that weekend, I would love to play saxophone. He said, well, it's going to push your teeth out. You have to start when you're 8. So my dad thought, oh, save me a couple £100 buying a new saxophone. Um, but I went on about it every day for 2 years, and finally, 2 weeks before my 8th birthday, I got a saxophone, and I did a gig that night because I didn't know, I only knew one note, but I sort of knew when to play it because I've been listening to my dad's band my whole life, and and the funny thing is, it has sort of pushed my teeth out a
Yeah,
bit.
because you're, yeah, like that. Yeah.
Like um, so because I've played it so much, but yeah, I've had some like amazing opportunities, sort of, with partly due to my dad as well.
Well, people say this, and I always have to remind people like you, it's because you're good. If you weren't good, you wouldn't have these amazing opportunities. I mean, you're not going to hang around with people of the ilk that you've heard hung around with, even with your dad. Your dad says, "Well,
Yeah,
my son plays sax," and I'm sure they all went, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And then when you hear you, it's like, "Oh, wait a minute." And now, of course, you have your own career and all that stuff, but you
mm,
being exposed to so many well-known artists, and of course, the difference in age was huge. I mean,
mm.
for you, maybe not so much for your dad so much, but still for you, it's like, okay, Ian Stewart, all these people that I knew. I grew up in the age, the Beatlesania and all that stuff. So,
Mm.
in fact, I'm a blues guy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was, excuse me, there was really the Rolling Stones, they don't know this. Mick hasn't called me and asked me, but they're the ones that exposed me to the blues.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they had Little Red Rooster on there, Willie Dixon stuff, and I'm going, oh, I kind of like this stuff. And that's when I
Mm.
started getting into it. And then I was a avid reader of liner notes when albums were popular.
Yeah.
So when I put the headphones on, I'd sit there and read all the liner. Who's the producer? Who's the engineer? Oh,
Mm.
Bob Clear Mountain is the master. I mean, I knew all these people. So when you mention them, it's like, okay, because it's like, all right, who played? Wait a minute. Ry Cooder played French horn on this song I mean, all that stuff. Then a lot of those people went on. But you were exposed to that, and then you had to find your own way. So how did that come about? I mean, you obviously didn't crutch on your dad. I assume you had to go, okay, Dad, I got to do my own thing here.
Uh, I still work with my dad a lot. We still play together all the time. And
Hmm.
but when I moved to London, because I'm from the country in England, and I was desperate to sort of move from this sort of little village of about 11 people to get somewhere else. I wanted somewhere bigger, and I still don't drive, so London is great because you can just use the public transport and
Right. Yeah.
get anywhere. But so I moved to London, and I think people were just sort of started saying, "Oh, we got this saxophone player. Um, he's looking for some gigs or something." and I got to play with some great people and write some great music. And so I've been sort of gigging with So like Georgia Cecile in London, who's a great jazz singer, and Moises dos Santos. We wrote together with Emily Sandé for a track, and but then on the side, I still get to do a lot of dad's gigs and stuff. So it's just a mix, and dad, a bit always nepotism. If he if there's someone he knows needs a saxophone player, he'll thankfully recommend me.
Well, yeah, that says a lot about your dad, but also about your quality of work. Because
Yeah.
the one thing I've had the privilege of interviewing some great studio people, especially out
Mm.
of Nashville, and you don't know who they are until they tell you what songs they played on,
Yeah, yeah.
and then they start naming all these A-listers. Oh yeah, I played on that. Oh yeah, I played on that. And I think the thing, and I think most people, a lot of people do, musicians like yourself, they want to have their own gig, but that money coming in by well known, if you're well known and are good, you're going to be busy.
Hmm.
And you know what the business is like.
Yeah, yeah.
As you know, you have to be on tour to make any money,
Hmm.
and got to sell merch. So it to me it's the best of both worlds.
Hmm.
You kind of can do what you want to do to a certain extent. I mean, you get three avenues here. Your dad could get you gigs. You play with your dad. You
Yeah.
get to studio people. I mean, you're in a great spot because the fact is, look, I've been playing in bands my whole life,
Yeah, yeah.
and we all know which are the easiest people to find. Need a lead guitar player? Oh, I got 100 of those people. I got a drummer? Yeah, I got 100. I got a. How about a sax player? Don't know if I know anybody that does that. How about a really good sax player? Oh, I don't know anybody that does
And
that. But did your dad expose you to, because was he more involved in the jazz scene? I mean, you do a lot of that. Was that
well,
something?
he's not he's not really, he just doesn't really play jazz. I don't think he even really likes jazz that much. But
Yeah.
so yeah, it's quite interesting. There's a whole other scene, a pocket of musicians in London that I get to play with regularly, and who would probably, not know a lot of the musicians I play with, and vice versa. I probably don't know a lot of the jazz musicians who are very well known, around Europe because I'm so into blues and rock and roll, and but it's great because I've got like I'm in this like both worlds of musically, and I really enjoy it, really enjoy it.
Well, being a blues guy, I did listen to the Jeff stuff because I said, "Who's this Jeff guy that he's playing with?" And so I
Oh
listened
yeah.
to it, and you've obviously known him for a while.
Well,
And-
it's funny, this tour, I didn't think I didn't think he was going to say yes to it because this is my first trip to Australia.
mhm,
Well, not my first trip as a band leader.
right.
Um, and you know, no one really knows me out here, so I needed someone with a bit more, uh, great reputation
hmm
and
hmm
well, and Jeff's a local out here, and he agreed to do this tour with me, and we're having a great time because the tour's called Brush with the Blues,
I saw
so
that.
it's
Yeah.
a bit of a like nod to Jeff Beck because as we were planning it, um,
Hmm.
he passed, and
My
I
one of
was
my
fortunate.
favorite. I got to see Jimi Hendrix, and I got to see Jeff Beck. The
Yeah,
two
yeah.
my favorite two guitar players.
Well,
And
I got to play with him a few times, and there was. I'll quickly tell you the story. When on my 21st birthday, um, we were playing this party for this guy called Harry Enfield. He's a very famous comedian in England, and I didn't really want to do it, if I'm honest, because it was my 21st birthday and
yeah,
didn't know what to expect.
yeah, I got
And
other things to do besides. Yeah, it's my 21st
yeah,
birthday.
yeah. And they said, like, come along. We know it's your 21st, and we'll sit. You can have dinner with us. And so they sat me between Harry and Jeff Beck for dinner,
Wow.
and and then decided to get me paralytically drunk throughout the dinner.
Here's
And
here. Keep drinking. They're forcing that booze down your mouth. Yeah, okay. I'll take another. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I take another. And they said at midnight, because it was actually sort of the next day, I turned 21. They said, "What do you want to do for your 21st?" I said, "I want to play Honky Tonk Woman on the drums." And Jeff was like, "Let's do it then, let's do it." And he played guitar on it, and oh, such a surreal moment. And looking back on it, it was a great party, a fantastic party.
That is one of those great stories. I mean, come on. I mean, the closest I got was I saw him in 2000. Oh my God, has it been that long ago? 2010. And I got a record label give me tickets to go see him at Bonnaroo, which is a big outdoor festival in Tennessee.
Mm.
And um, they called me and they said, okay, I actually won the contest. It was really weird. I won this contest out of clear because I knew Jeff. It was like I posted something on Twitter and I'm going like, Jeff doesn't write his own Twitter feeds. I could say, I'm sure he doesn't. And they said, okay, you're on a trip. Anyway, we go. And I couldn't, there's so many people in this one spot and back then they couldn't handle the cell phone service. So you couldn't get a hold of anybody if you had AT&T at this particular one.
Yeah.
And I ended up talking to a lady that wrote for, she was a music critic for the Chicago Tribune, and she knew him. But when the label called me, I said, they go, oh, hey, we're sending you an autographed copy of, it's the album with the eagle on it. I can't remember the name of it now.
Oh, um,
You know which one
I
I'm
can't
talking about.
remember. Yeah,
Yeah, you know which one
no.
I'm talking about. I get, great. Do I get to meet him? And they went, no. There wasn't even like a thought. It was like, no.
No, no, no.
But I followed his career. My wife loved him as much as I did. She doesn't like a lot of stuff that I do, but we went down and saw him. And I got to tell you something about Jeff Beck. To me, being a musician, because I'm standing there waiting for them to come out and do a sound check. Now,
Yeah,
this was a festival, so they had tents all over the place. The first band came out, they left, and I'm going, okay, he's going to be coming out here and doing something. No, 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 no. They just walk out and start playing, and I'm like, dang, that's some good people right there going on.
yeah, yeah.
And so you got to sit next to him, and what a great story. I mean, what
Yeah,
was
it
he?
was
I
brilliant.
mean, was he? I just got this feeling. I'm not going to spend much time talking about, it, but I got this feeling he wasn't much of a talker.
No, well, yeah, but I think pretty shy. I mean, I got to play with him a few times after that as well, on saxophone. Um, and we did a day of recording
Wow.
actually, um, which was great. And that was the first time I sort of got to chat to him really properly because he'd be telling all these stories as well that
I
day
can
because
imagine.
we were there all day and all the band were just sort of in awe, just
Oh
sort of
yeah.
listening to his every word. And that was fantastic. But um, no, I think very shy. I mean, I feel like just as shy, so
Well,
not much.
and I have to ask this question because I ask people that I've had the opportunity to interview some people that got picked up and play in a very famous band. Their band,
Mm.
one of the main, were you sitting there in the studio, whatever, going, "Oh my God, this is Jeff Beck. What am I doing
Yeah,
here?"
yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. It
And
was
it's
great.
and they're like, "Okay, I would if it was me, I'd go. I wouldn't even. I'm not worthy. How can I be in this?
Yeah.
Can I get some coffee or tea for you, sir?" So, but you've been
No, just
exposed.
it's one of those things that you don't really think about until it's actually happening, and then you think, "Oh shit, I'm in a room with this legend," you know.
Well, now it
It's
makes sense why your album or your tour is called Brush of the Blues, because which is I'm one of my favorite songs he wrote, which is in the key of B. I even know that. I even know the beginning of it. But that makes sense. But then with Jeff, your countermate there on the stage with you, obviously he was influenced by American blues. I can hear it in his playing. I listen to some of
yeah,
his
yeah.
tunes. So who was
Mm.
your influence? Who was your?
Oh,
I mean, you grew
I
up and
just
go, oh,
my favorite saxophone players, and this album I've made, um uh, it's like just influenced by blues sax players and jump, jive music. That's the stuff I love. That's stuff I've grown up listening to, partly due to my dad being a boogie piano player. But I'm into, Big J McNeely, Illinois Jacquet. Like this album has a lot of horn section stuff on, and there's a Paul Butterfield album. I can't remember the
Okay.
name of it, but it's got
Oh,
David
Butterfield,
Sanborn
yeah.
in the horn section, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just like I love that sort of blues sort of inspired, but with a big horn section and sax players leading it as well. Because I think it's sort of quite rare to come across that. Um, sax used to be cooler than the guitar, I think, at one
Yeah,
stage.
you're right. I don't disagree with you because in the 50s, you listen to the songs they had the simple sax guys just blowing, kind
Yeah,
of,
well, that's what I love. Like, that's what I really love, and I want to sort of do an album to record music, more music like that, and play more music because it gets. We were playing a festival this weekend, and that's
That's
what I
right.
was
It's
doing.
it's still summer down there, isn't it? It's still
Yeah,
warm.
it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
It's
That's right.
not too hot today, but it's going to be about 36
That's
degrees.
that's warm for you. Yeah.
Yeah, which is warm for me,
Oh,
being.
sure it is. Yeah, being from England. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we did about half an hour set and got everyone dancing, playing a one night solo, which is I love. I love,
Yeah.
And there's that energy that those old guys sort of, that no one does anymore. And I want to try and do a bit more of that, it's because I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
And I think it's interesting too that the music industry, the music in general, is kind of all over the place now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've got three young people, they're all 16 years old, that are all in the blues, and they're all very good. Two of them play really known for their harp playing, and then they're playing guitar, but the other one's a guitar player.
Mm.
And I love that because being a blues guy myself, I like them to, I hate to say they're trying to keep it going, but they're influenced by that because, if you listen to whatever you're listening to now, there's so much different stuff out there to listen to. When you get people like yourself that play that stuff that's been around for a while, it has that feel to it.
Mm.
I think we're missing that. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
everything is oversaturated with dubbing and making sure the first note, every note is the same, and you got all this stuff going on. When you have raw talent, or not raw talent as much as you do when you record, it's got that raw feel to it. And
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I like that. Did you ever get to meet Bobby Keys, the fact that he played with the Stones for
Oh,
so many years?
yeah. Actually, I've got a great story about meeting Bobby because um my dad got invited. They played Hyde Park in 2016 or something. I can't remember what year it was. But we're having a family barbecue. It was a beautiful day in England, which is very rare. We're having a barbecue for all our family, and he got a phone call from Ronnie or something saying we're playing Hyde Park tonight. You and Tom should come along and hang out with us. And we're like, and it's the end of the tour, so it'll be a bit of a party. And we're like, okay, we'll go. Um, so we drove up and got there and met up with Charlie. He said we've organized something special for Tom. Uh, he, we want to. Does he want to have a jam with the saxophone players? I was like, yeah, of course. And so I walk into Bobby Key's dressing room, and he's like shirtless playing the saxophone. It was quite an image,
Yeah, because
and
I know what he looked like. Yes, it is quite
yeah,
an
yeah.
image. Yeah, yeah.
And uh, he was great. We just hung out, me, him, and Tim Reese, and I was sort of talking to them. We jammed about half an hour and talking to them. I said, "Look, I'm still sort of a beginner at that stage, and I was like, I'm struggling with these high notes, like you guys play, and you sound so amazing." And they said, "Oh, well, that's because you got a shit saxophone. You're never you're never gonna get it on that saxophone." And then Tim Reese sort of turns around and says, "Tell you what, this is the last gig of the tour. Have this one." And he presents me with this saxophone, which I still have and play all the time. And
Wow.
uh, it was really surreal, you know. It was I couldn't really, I was on cloud nine, and then we sort of we finished the jam. They had to play the gig, and we watched from the wings, Hyde Park, and yeah, it was just brilliant, really
You
fun
know,
gig.
and Bobby would, I think his style would be more something that you probably really liked because he was one of those
Yeah,
old
yeah.
type, one of those old timey guys that played it, and he
Oh well,
was,
he was such a character, you know, proper Texan, and um, he was just fantastic to talk to, you know.
you know, and I think the other thing too is when you start talking about people like that, and you start thinking, okay, I met this person, I met this Charlie Watts, I met this Jules Holland, and what I don't think a lot of people understand, and it came to me the more I started interviewing people, is
Mm.
it's a, and I had the privilege last year of talking at the local university, which is a very well known, it's one of the best jazz universities in America. And
Yeah,
I told them they're a member of a club. You're as a musician, you're a member of a club. And the great thing about it is you can sit down and talk to anybody. What kind of music they play, you can still talk to them because you're a
yeah,
musician.
yeah,
But the other
yeah,
part of it is when you say things like this, you're thinking, you know, people listening to this might go, wait a minute, Ronnie called you up and Bobby talked to you and Charlie, and you're thinking, what they don't realize is those people all knew each other. They were just
yeah,
like,
yeah,
they were just, you know, people that knew each other and grew up. They had each other. It'd be like talking to, we were talking about Brett or calling your friend up.
yeah, yeah,
It wasn't like walking around going, oh, look who I'm hanging out with. No, because they all knew each other. It wasn't to them, it was just part of the camaraderie of being able to play with them.
yeah, yeah.
And then you get
That's,
exposed to it because then you get to hear them. And one of the things I think I would have been doing was ask how, if I had a chance, if I had the chance before he passed away, I would ask Jeff Beck about his equipment. I mean, I'm not gonna, because people know they can't. Nobody's been able to replicate his playing because he just had such a style of his own. But I'd go like, why did you play? Why did you use this effect on this song? You know,
mm.
what did, you know, that's more my style instead of saying, when you did Brush with the Blues, did you start out in B? Did you want to do it in B? I mean, no, I don't care about that. I care about the other side of it. Now, how long you been working on this new album? When did you start?
Um, about 2 years now. I've been working since 2023,
Now,
September
these all
20.
your songs, or tell me a little bit about
Yes, most of my songs are written with my band in London, and then yeah, there's a Roy Brown tune, "Good Rockin' Tonight," which is one of my favorite uh, blues sort of songs, and then what other songs? Uh, yeah, I think apart from that's the only cover we play on the album, but the rest of it's all sort of there's a few shuffles, there's a few sort of I would say maybe rock and roll tunes, like rock tunes that were sort of inspired by like Lenny Kravitz
mm, mm.
and you know more in a different vein to the blues side of things that I love as well. But uh, yeah, it's most are the original tunes, original songs written. I just came to the studio with ideas, and then
Well, that's what I was
me
going to
and the
ask you. As a songwriter myself, and talked to a lot of different songwriters, I was going to ask how you kind of start out. Do you just get an idea? Tell me how you what not influences you, but you sit at home or wherever you live and start doing a riff on your sax, or you have something you play on a
I
piano.
know normally write on the keyboard, you know. So I do a
Okay.
lot of writing um for I write for artists as well. That's my other
Oh
sort
wow.
of gig. And I normally just write little MIDI demos, which most of the time sound a bit shit until I get a live band in the room. And but yeah, I write a lot, and I write lyrics a lot. But this album is more mainly instrumental music. But yeah, I'll sit down and probably spend the morning coming up with ideas. Sometimes nothing comes of it, and then sometimes
Oh
I'll
yeah.
write 4 songs in an hour or something,
Do
you
you,
know.
do you ever get the feeling sometimes that you don't think you're going to come up with an idea?
Yeah, a lots of
I
times
think all of
is
us do that. You're sitting there, you go, okay, I finished this. Nothing will come to me in the next 3 or 4 weeks. And then you start futzing around with something, and all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute,
yeah,
I got
yeah.
something, yeah. And
You
I
just
think
got to.
Yeah, no,
trust the
I was,
process of like trying to get it finished, sort
yeah.
of. And like if you have an idea, finish it. I think that's quite an important uh because otherwise you got like 100 ideas and and nothing gets done.
Now, do
If you
you
at least
chart it? Do you chart them out, or do you just take them in and go, "Hey guys, I want you to hear this thing," and how does that work?
yeah, I normally what I'll do is I write a song on the keyboard and program the drums and everything and then if once I'm happy with it, happy enough with it, I'll chart it out for everyone and I'll just say look, they could some of the musicians I work with, could probably sight read my charts, but I say have a listen to the MIDI and
Yeah.
um and we'll and we normally do 5, 6 songs in a day.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah. But that's with the vocals, well, the vocals. This is just like getting the bass tracks down and
But I think that says a lot about people you hang around with.
yeah, yeah.
It's, did you record this in one studio? Did you different studios? Where did you?
Um, my album I recorded in Echo Town in Dorset, which is because they're old friends of ours, and their studio is beautiful. And then
I'm sorry. What was the
uh,
name of the studio?
Echo Town.
Oh, Echo Town. Okay.
But then I mixed it in because it's my first album, so I wanted to do it justice. But we went to Conk Studios, which is Ray Davis Studios
Oh,
in London,
okay.
and that's just like another world. It's got the equipment and just
Yeah.
hallowed turf. It's like just amazing space to be in, and so I mixed most of the album there and did some overdubs there. Um,
So did you?
and
You obviously had an engineer. If you're sitting there, you had somebody come in and help you mix it too, didn't you?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
this got Mac Jagger. He mixes a lot. He mixes for a lot of pop
I mean, you
artists,
can
and
tell them what you like, and you can start doing some things.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
when you
I
got
mean,
when you got that much stuff laying around, you're going like, okay, they know how to add. We need a little compression over here, and you're like, okay, you know.
I mean, I didn't have to be in the studio really. I could have left Matt to do his thing
Oh
because
wow.
I love his ears are fantastic, and he's just I think we got very similar tastes as well. But I just wanted to be in that studio because it's just amazing place to be in.
I admire your work a lot,
Oh,
uh, because I think the fact is, and you have a gig for the rest of your life. I mean, seriously. I mean, if you keep up what you're doing, you might be
Mm.
at my age and playing an old folks band, but you're still playing. You know? And tonight we have Tom on saxophone, and I think that's what's so cool about it. When you, I like logistic stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're over there. Did you have to front your own way to get there to get the gig, or did you have
Uh,
people sponsoring you, or somebody helping
I've
you
got
out?
we got a good mate of mine, Reg Bancroft. He's a tour manager out here, and he's a genius at putting on the shows and because as a musician, as you probably know, we're all daft. We don't know what the don't know our right foot from our left, and it's all logistics is not my strong
Not
point.
not not in our yeah 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 not our
No,
purview as you say yeah
I know,
yeah.
and Reg is no, he's great. He's got a great brain for that sort of stuff, and so we're doing. So he's sort of helped us a lot for this tour, and hopefully this will be the start of maybe many. And but I couldn't have done it without him. So it's it's great having. I mean, at home, I can't organize gigs to save my life. I just sort of say yes to whatever comes my way and hope for the
Well,
best.
you're like a lot of people. You just want to play. You kind of foresee yourself, okay, you're trying to get your music out so people listen to it. I understand that part. But what's your bigger plan though? I mean, do you want to play with other people? Do you want to go on a world tour? I mean, what's your kind of
I
your
I'd
personal
love
goal?
to I'd love to take my music around the world, I'd love to obviously I still want to be a sort of session guy and play with people, and but I feel like I'm sort of doing a little bit of that in London but I'd love to take my music and write music and as a sort of, you know, rock and roll saxophone player. I think it's very well.
I had no motto, but just one rule. Let no one say I'm someone's fool. Was on my own and I didn't mind to look for the best loving woman and take my time. I don't sound very good when I sing. You can have me anytime you want me, anytime you need me, anytime you want